Everyone, it is Wednesday, December 22nd. Uh, going to be going through charts very soon. If you have any stocks that you want me to go through, drop a comment on this post and I'd be more than happy to run through them. But let's get started. SPY, we had a nice gap up today. Uh, Throughout the day, I was watching the chart and I was hoping that we would just fill the gap it created this morning. And we did end up getting that bounced off of this 8-day EMA as well. And we finished the day higher. So I do like that we finished lower. Makes me believe that we are going to go higher. Better odds that we go higher now that we've filled that gap below. Uh, we do also get a GDP reading tomorrow, and I think that's going to be important. We get a good GDP reading, and I think the stock market will continue to go higher. So big data tomorrow, right before the holidays. So hopefully, markets give us a good Christmas gift. Um, so yeah, SPY I think looks good. We're kind of in this wedge right now. Once we break out of this wedge and we get a close above it, I think we're going to continue higher. I mean, it's going to be a matter of time. I think there's no reason for us to lose this trend line or actually go super low. My line in the sand, I think, is 659. Um, but at the moment, I think that's likely not going to happen. So I do like the way that SPY is looking. Um, One second here. Let me get all these cleared up. Um, but yeah, I think SPY looks good. Next, we'll go to IWM. Yeah, same thing. There is a gap below, so maybe we kind of just range a little bit first on IWM before we go higher. OBV is trying to get back above the previous highs from October 15th. And we actually did get above it just barely. But I think IWM still looks good. This is the support I'd want to keep for right now. Um, so yeah, getting back in this channel would be great. This ascending channel would be great. But we're already over the previous all-time highs here, and SPY is not there yet. So I think IWM still looks good. I think we're going to see some outperformance in 2026 on IWM over SPY, just because SPY is so top heavy with its concentration. Like 36% of all funds are in the Mag 7. So I think we're going to start to see some rotation into lower market cap stocks that have a lot of value, strong balance sheets. So I think that's in play for 2026. Now the um, VIX is just falling off a cliff. We're at 1409 is where we closed today, and that's basically the lows from August of this year. Um, so it'll be interesting to see how much lower we go. I have the VIX being a buy pretty much any time it's under uh, $15. But this looks like it might fall off a little bit more. Maybe a little bit of increased volatility in the morning due to the GDP reading, but I still think that the VIX is going to stay down here for a little bit before we have to worry about going higher. So VIX. Now we've got some uh, space stocks. Space stocks are starting to take off. ASTS is looking good. Yeah, it looks like it's breaking out of these highs. It is pulling back right now after hours. Maybe we fill this gap, but I think ASTS is looking strong. It's breaking out on the OBV and I think space is going to be a hot theme going forward for a little bit, mainly because of uh, SpaceX going public and Elon Musk teasing that it could be the first $100 trillion valuated company in the world. And I think that we're going to get a lot of pop off of this, kind of like how we saw the AI infrastructure taking off earlier. We started to see all these big deals flow in and things started to go good. So I think until SpaceX goes public, we'll start to see a lot of runners, and then SpaceX going public will probably maybe we'll see a pump for a few more days across the sector, and then shortly after, I think it'll things will start to fall off. But um, yeah, I think space is going to be a great sector. You know, RKLB, Rocket Labs breaking out of all time highs, pulling back right now. It's actually pulling back to the all time highs at the moment. Everything's looking good. Um, so I actually came across a few stocks on my scanner today that I liked. So I wanted to talk about those first. The first one being Power Bank Corporation, SUUN. So I found this stock. It was on my scanner, pulled it up, and found out that it's in the space sector. So they kind of got their hands in a few different things, and they're all in sectors that I'm bullish on. They're in the space sector, they're in alternative energy, and they're in AI infrastructure. They're actually working on creating a satellite infrastructure of AI infrastructure satellites. They're going to be low orbit, and as I mentioned earlier, with SpaceX going public, I think we're going to start to see a lot of these stocks take off and go on some runs. Uh, we had some huge volume today and yesterday. I think there's also only like 37 million shares outstanding on this one, so it's very low float. It traded 4.5 million shares today. OBV is all the way breaking out. Um, and I think it consolidated a little bit today, but to me, this is this looks like breakout volume, and I think we're going to start seeing this push higher. I took a position on this after hours. I posted it to my ex, and if as long as it doesn't take off in the morning, I'm going to be buying more. I'm waiting for some funds to clear, so long as it doesn't go off overnight, I'll be buying more tomorrow. Another one on my watch list today that hit my scanners was Color. This is another space stock. Very nice off the lows. You know, came up, got rejected off the 50 in this downtrend, and then we bounced off this support area, and now it looks like we're trying to make a breakout of uh, this range. So I think Color also looks great, and I think space is going to really take off. I mean, we got a gap to fill right here. At 920, it fills that gap. With the attention that this sector is getting, I could definitely do that in short order. You're up 150%. We close that gap. I think it's worth the risk, and I mean, I'd be out on anything below 227. You get a second entry at $3 if we get it, but I think space is starting to look real nice. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the space sector and SUUN and Color, ASTS and RKLB. If there's any others, let me know. Drop a comment. Um, More than happy to take a look at it. But yeah, let's go into my scanner. So we've got OS one stream. I think this one doesn't look too bad. OBV. Let's take a look at the OBV. It's got a ways to go to get to that one. Let's start over here. Take a look at this one. It's not quite there in the OBV. It is breaking out of this downtrend right here and the 50 SMA. It also had a nice, almost a double bottom. So I think this looks like it's going to go on a little bit of a run. I think short term, you could probably see the 200-day EMA at 2230. And then above 2966. And 3539, and that's the beginning of its trading history. So I think one stream looks good. Broke out of this downtrend back in October, came down, got the lows, and now it's breaking out again. So one stream I think looks good for a short-term setup. Next we got Schrodinger Inc. This one is already making a move. It's bounced off these lows several times. Just for me at this point, I don't think there's a trade setup that I would take. So I'm going to go on to the next one. We got SBLK, Starbolt Carriers. So this is a shipping freighter company. Let's take a look here. So we came down, dipped below the support. Now we're back above it. OBV has been basically range bound. It's been range bound since June. Yeah, I mean, I don't love the setup. I think it's got a good dividend on this one, if I remember correctly. Let me take a look real quick. It's got a 2.4% dividend, so not the best, but it's got a dividend on it at least. Yeah, not bad setup, just none that I would take. So we're on the next one, IRDM, Iridium Communications. All right, so this one was one that we charted a few weeks ago. I said you could take the break of that, get a second entry on this retest, then you'd be out on below 1565. It kind of got halfway there, and now we're starting to push back up. I think if you wanted to take a similar setup, you could get in here, get another entry on 1724, and then out below 1565. And then just wait for the break of that. Yeah, just wait for that break. Yeah, not the best setup, not the worst setup, but not a setup I would particularly take. So we will go to the next. Skywater Technology. All right, so this one, OBV is in an uptrend. Bounced off there. Yeah, I'd wait for it to at least break there, and then wait for the breakout there as well. Let's take a look at this. It has a little bit of downside from here if it gets rejected, so I would wait for the breakout on this resistance line right here, and then I would probably put a stop loss right there, and then you could get a second entry at 1481. So your stop losses are either going to be here, or if we get super far out, your stop loss will be just this uptrend line right here, a close below it. So that's Sky T. Next, we've got DNLI, Denali Therapeutics. It's got a nice rounded bottom over here. Came down, yeah, and not, yeah. I don't love the setup, but I think there is a setup here, but I don't love it. So we'll go to the next one, Geo Group. So this one's interesting. We've got this right here. I'm just ignoring this because it gapped up and immediately dropped, so I'm not going to count that. But it's right at this potential breakout level. The OBV. Let's take a look at the OBV. Yeah, it's got a little bit to go to break out as well. If you wanted to, you could get an entry on this break and then wait for a confirmation. If you want to add more for the OBV to break on this one, so those would basically be my entries. If I were to take this one, I would take the break and then add more once I have a confirmation that this OBV is going to break as well. And then your stop loss would just be 1446. And then levels above, 2034, 2294, 2750, 3209, 3646. Yeah, so those are all the levels I would take profit at, and yeah, I would wait for the breakout of here and then add more if we get a break there. So yeah, that's Geo. Not, this is more of a setup that I would prefer to take. But yeah, I'll keep an eye on this one. I'll let you guys know. Next, we've got ADEA, Adia Inc. And this one is already gone, so I am not going to chart this one. Next, we've got PCG, Pacific Gas and Electric. Yeah, so it's breaking out of the 50 SMA right now. It's kind of got an obscure inverse head and shoulders. I wouldn't even call it an inverse head and shoulders. But at this point, nothing, not a setup that you could do that's actionable at the moment. If you wanted to, you would wait for the retest of here of 1481, or you'd get in on the break of this resistance line. So those are the two areas I'd look to buy. But I'll add an alert on this just in case it does start breaking out. But I wouldn't take a trade on this at the moment. All right. Next, we've got Owl. Yeah, so Owl, I think is still looking good. Talked about this on stream. It would have been on the 16th. Yeah, we got a nice inverse head and shoulders here. It's coming into resistance. OBV is, also making an inverse head and shoulder. So I think Owl's looking good. I like Owl as a long-term hold. It's got a really nice dividend. Its dividend is sitting at 5.85%. So has a very solid dividend. Nice way to pay yourself off of that. But yeah, I think owl looks good. Surprised I don't have an alert on it already, but yeah, it's looking good. And yeah, and this is a stock I wouldn't day trade. I would just buy and hold this one for the long term. They're making some deals in the AI infrastructure space, so it's kind of like a secondary bet on the AI infrastructure space. So um, next is UMAC, unusual machines. Um, OBV's been pretty range bound for the most part. We're coming into resistance area. Yeah, it's starting to get tight. Looks like it's starting to, show that it's creating a bottom here. Kind of broke out of there. Um, but yeah, on this one on UMAC, I would wait for the breakout of this downtrend. Um, and I would get in on the break, and then stop loss. You'd either sell once it breaks below here. Yeah, that would just be my stop loss as a break below here. Second entry, if we get it, you can do a second entry right around there. Good area of previous support. But I mean, it is going through. It did close above that area of support and resistance. So if you kind of wanted to try to front run the breakout of this resistance, you could try that. It'd be a little bit more risky, but you certainly could. But yeah, I would prefer to wait for the break of this downtrend right here. And then your profit levels 1676, 2165, and and then you're in blue sky territory from there. So you get about 100% from here, and you're in blue sky territory. So um, definitely not a bad trade setup. So yeah, that's unusual machines. Next we've got Cura Oncology. Um, yeah, nothing on this setup that I like, so we will go to the next PAGs. I feel like this has been on every other day, but I like this stock long term. There's this one in new. I'm pretty bullish on overall. I think the finance sector in Latin America is going to experience a really nice growth. There's a lot of investors coming in, trying to help the people out of Latin America, combat the high inflation rates that they're seeing in some of their currencies. So I think Pags and New they're probably my top two. Um, so yeah, I think Pags is good. I think it's in a good spot, and I do like Pags long term. Next we got Shoals SHLS Shoals Technology. So this one, we are getting a breakout. Yeah, it just barely broke out of this downtrend. We are up after hours. Uh, let's see this support right here. Yeah, it's a nice solid support right there. OBV is trying to break out as well, it looks like. Yeah, so OBV isn't quite there on the breakout. Price is breaking out. Um, I think you could get an entry on this whenever, and then just make sure we get that close above. I wouldn't do, a second entry on this unless it comes back into this wedge. Your second entry would probably just be 839. Your stop loss would be this support area. Um, but yeah, I think setup on this one isn't horrible. You can take profit at 1136. Yeah, and lots of areas to take profit above. It looks like we got here. There. Yeah. Here. Yeah, there's plenty of areas to take profit on the way up. But yeah, that's Shoals Technology. I think you could buy this break and then get an entry at 839 if it falls back into this before it starts going higher. But if it never comes back down and it gets this resistance line, I'd sell on a close below. So that's Shoals RCAT, Red Cat Holdings. So this is, I believe this is a UAV company. OBV looks good. Nice little bottom here, coming higher. You know, I don't hate this setup either. You know, that'd be basically the downtrend break. Now we're above this support level right here, so you know you could buy right here. You could add more at 880. I probably wouldn't, and then I'd be out probably below 687. OBV looks strong. It broke out with price, so that is all good. You take profit at 1127. You can move that up to 1230. Yeah, 1230 is a little bit better than 1527. And then you're in blue sky territory. So I think Red Cat looks solid. Let's go back to the daily chart. So yeah, RCAT looks good. I would probably just do one entry. Stop loss at 687. So we will go on to the next. Next is HLMN. This was on the other day. Yeah, not quite ready. I still think it looks good. It does have an inverse head and shoulders, pretty stretched out one. So we'll see what happens, but I would wait for the break of this before I got in. So I will keep an eye on this one. I'll add an alert. Crossing up message. And all right, so that's HLMN. Next, we've got LPTH, Light Path. Yeah, so this one is getting close to a breakout. We definitely talked about this one on December 2nd. And I said you could buy the breakout and then you could get another entry here and here. And then your stop loss would be under 614. So you would have gotten both these entries and the stop loss would have been triggered. And now it looks like it's trying to make a push for this resistance. The only concern is we did lose the OBV. So let's see what happens when we do this on the OBV. A little bit of a different. So if you take a slightly different OBV from these points, it did bounce right off. I would just be cautious down here, make sure it does actually stay above. But you know, if it stays above and we get a breakout, you know that's a good opportunity to buy. I already have an alert on this resistance line, and then I believe 1069 is all-time high on this. No, it is not. Yeah, so there are plenty of profit levels above, and wouldn't it be nice if we got to all-time highs? That would be amazing. Over 50x. But yeah, I think good setup on the short term. Yeah, I definitely wait for the break of this. Next, we've got ACVA. You know, setup. Yeah, I don't really like the setup on this one. So I will go to the next one. KYTX, Kyverna Therapeutics. And again, not really a setup I like here, so we'll go to the next one. CCC, Intelligent Solutions. Don't like the setup on this one either. AEG, Aegon, LTD. Don't like the setup here. So VIR. Yeah, this one's not bad. As long as this is... Yeah, so it's bouncing off the support level. OBV, I mean, we did lose that trend. Did get back above. So as long as it holds and doesn't go back below, you could buy that right there. And then you sell either below this on the OBV or below the support on price. Profit areas above, and you could 726, 1030, $12, and 14.45. Then you got a gap to fill all the way up at the $20 range, 22-ish. Yeah, I got to fill at 23. So yeah, setups, probably not my ideal setup, but it doesn't look bad. So next we got ALDX, Aldera Therapeutics. Nothing there that I like. So we'll go to next BTG, B2 Gold Corp. I'm bullish on gold. I just think this is probably one of the worst charts I've seen in the gold sector. I mean, pretty much every single gold stock has been crazy. We've got ITRG, this looks super bullish. We've got TRX, which is in my long-term portfolio, super bullish. We're up 37% from our initial buy. I think overall we're up like 20% because we did have a couple extra buys in there. They just every single gold stock looks bullish, and BTG looks like crap. So, not for me. So next we got ABUS. It's kind of just consolidating around these local highs. Yeah, good area of resistance overall where it's at. OBV isn't, it's in an uptrend, but yeah, not my favorite setup. So next we'll go to Santa. This is another hot stock right now. OBV is coming down to the support. I don't like that we lost this support right here. So I think definitely worth keeping an eye on. But I bet it comes back down and tests the support line. I'd definitely be more interested in an entry on 396, or if we break out of this resistance. So I think that's what I would prefer to see on Santa. It's just in the middle of nowhere right now, so not a lot of reason to buy here. So we will go to the next one, LRMR. Yeah, so this is another one that we went through. It was back on the 9th of December. We talked about buying up here on the break and then getting a second entry at 371. It dipped lower, but never hit the stop loss we talked about. Now we're starting to go higher. OBV, it did lose this trend line. So that is a little bit concerning. If you got in on the on the 11th or 10th, and you got a second entry on it, you could reduce some risk here. But yeah, it could go up. It could go up from here. Let's see what this does. Yeah, so I guess you could say that it's bouncing off support right there. So not as bad as I thought it looked initially, but I definitely want it to, you know, definitely get a breakout of here, and then definitely not lose that support. So I'd keep an eye on that support. If it loses that support, I'd sell, and then you could add more on a break of the OBV. So that's LRMR, and then profit areas above. The first TP on this, is $6, but you could also take profit at 510 if you wanted to take profit sooner. And then 950, 1368, 1764, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's LRMR. Next is ABSI, ABSI Corporation. Yeah, I'd wait for the break on this. The setup overall on this stock, not my favorite. OBV's kind of all over the place. So I'll go to the next one is RCKT. So this is a short-term trade I'm actually currently in. I was hoping it would start moving sooner, but it's just taking its time, and it is what it is. I'll add more at 308. I think I added in the 350 range. I'm probably right around break even at this point. Um, Inverse head and shoulders. I'd be careful to make sure it's not going from an inverse head and shoulders to a head and shoulders. Um, so I'll keep an eye on that for sure. But I'm selling everything at 451 if we get there. I'm not holding this one for higher. I just wanted to take a quick trade and hope it works. The OBV is getting close to potentially breaking out, so that's good. A nice little double bottom right here. And yeah, now we're just waiting for the break on that. Let's take a look at this as well. Yeah, it looks like it broke out there. So, if you wanted to buy some here, you could buy some here, and then, your next entry would be 308, and your stop loss would be 283. So, yeah, I think it looks better than I initially thought. Just hoping that this didn't go from an inverse head and shoulders to a head and shoulders. So, would like to see it continue going higher. Next on the list is CATX, Perspective Therapeutics. Yeah, nothing I really like on that. So we'll go to IBRX. Yeah, not a setup I really like here either. That OBV just fell off a cliff. So we'll go to the next PALI. Palisade Bio. Nothing I really like here either. So we'll go to OVID, Ovid Therapeutics. Yeah, let's see if there's any news initiated at perform Ovid Therapeutics. Reports. Phase 1 results for. Yeah, so maybe that's why it's going. It was 4 days ago, so that would have been Thursday or Friday that news came out. Let's see if demonstrated good safety profile with no serious adverse events. Exploratory results showed central activity consistent with were as predicted, guiding future dosing strategies. Oral activator is set for regulatory submission in Q1 2026. 24 more potent than OV350 pharmacodynamic models. Interesting. Yeah, yeah, that's probably why it's going. It is breaking out right here. I'm not a big biotech guy in general. I mean, the setup is there. I mean, there's really the only resistance, is right here, and then here, so 269. So decent upside if you get through this resistance area. Um, but yeah, I would just do one entry on this, and then I'd be out below these lows right here. But that you're down. If you're out, you're down at least 33%. So you would definitely need to position that accordingly. You wouldn't want to go too heavy into this setup. So, uh, yeah, we'll go to the next one. So, only got a couple more. So, if there's any stocks you want me to go through, drop a comment. Be more than happy to run through them at the end. So, next we've got MGNX. Yeah, yeah, we broke we broke out a few days ago, a couple weeks ago. Now we're trying to just get through resistance at the 50 SMA. I personally wouldn't take it. You certainly could. One entry here, stop loss below these lows right here. And then, I probably wouldn't get too greedy with a stock like this and just be happy to get to $2. So I would take something simple like that. Only thing is the OBV just doesn't look the greatest. Um, so that's this one, and then the last one we'll go through FFAI Faraday Future Intelligence. Uh, yeah, this is not a bad setup at all. Double bottom off the lows, breaking out, broke out of this downtrend, um, and now we're out of these local highs right here. So yeah, I mean, you could definitely take this entry at 123, stop loss below 102. Um, I wouldn't get a second entry on this one, but you take profits 157. You get another take profit at 183. I mean, it doesn't look awful. So, OBV looks good too. I mean, we're getting we had a nice downtrend it broke out of. Yeah, and now it's starting to go higher. So I think this one doesn't look horrible on the setup. Um, you could just try to get to 157 and take some nice 30% gains from here. But yeah, I don't hate the setup. I think it looks pretty good. So, all right, that's all I've got today. If there's any stocks I missed, you want me to go through, drop a comment real quick. Be happy to run through it. If not, I will catch you guys um, on Friday. I will be off tomorrow. I got family in town. Won't be doing a live stream on Wednesday either. And then Thursday markets are closed. And then Friday I'll be able to hop back on the stream, and then I should be able to do every day next week. So thank you all for your time. I'll just wait a few seconds to see if anyone has any questions or if there's any stocks that they want me to go through. So I will hang out for a second. All right, looks like I'm not getting any notifications. So if you're watching this afterwards, if there's any other stocks you want me to go through, you can still drop a comment and I will just cover it on my next live stream. But thank you guys for your time. Hope you have a great Tuesday. Merry Christmas to all, and I will catch you guys on Friday. Have a good one, everyone.